Welcome, YouTube viewers. This is Waking Up Black America. Again, this is only my personal opinion. Now, I'm just doing a video response on frustrated. Why are all the black men or African Americans fleeing to Brazil? Well, first thing first, a lot of the issues or the general issues and complaints from African American men with African American women are they're tired and they're frustrated with the attitudes, and they're frustrated with being degraded, and they're not put on a pedestal as a man and their responsibilities. So I really blame the American society. I blame the American culture. So what that means is that pretty much we're subconsciously forced into these ideals. We have to be materialistic. We have to have status. And if you're not as equal, then pretty much you don't fit into our group. Now, let's say, for example, an African American woman, it's a double role because, for one, women are looked at or they're looked down on, from men. So they have to work twice as hard. At least that's what we believe in the American society, especially if you're an African American woman. So let's say, for example, if she graduates from college and she gets her, medical degree and she becomes a doctor. So not all, but some women with these high rankings, they expect in their relationship for a guy to be on that same level. So let's say if that African American woman partner works at McDonald's, they're not going to be competing on the same level financially. And like I said, as far as the attitude, the black African American men do not want to deal with that attitude. So what happens is that when they ran off to Brazil, and a little bit of history with Brazil is that when the Portuguese came over to South America, they conquered the indigenous people or the indigenous natives of South America. And not only the Portuguese brought over 4 million plus African slaves to work. So what happened is that they mixed. They took these three different ethnic groups of people and mixed with Portuguese blood, African blood, and indigenous blood. So now you have this combination which we know as Brazilians. So you have these different characteristics that black men like. Of course, we love our sisters, African descent of women. So a lot of the key factors that black men love is that long curly hair. You even see Brazilians, dark Brazilians, with African skin tone with blue eyes or with green eyes, from the descent of the Europeans. So, like I said, the number one thing is the attitude with these African American, women or whatnot, and how they're degrading African American men, and they're pretty much fed up with it. So, like I said, I don't really think it's too much of, the skin color, because, like I said, as statistically speaking, and this is a fact, that Brazil had imported more African slaves in the slave trade than any other country in the world. So it's known that there's more African blood right behind Nigeria in the world. So I don't understand how, some people can say, well, it's the skin color, or, they can't deal with a real African American sister. It's really the culture and how they treat the men down there. Me personally, I've never been down there to Brazil, but what I hear, their women are beautiful. They have African features, they got big old butts, and they have long hair, beautiful bodies, and of course they speak Portuguese. So of course a lot of, African American men, they want to see something different. They want to be exposed to something that drives their curiosity. So for once, when they go out to Brazil and they see how these women treat, how these women in Brazil treat them, now they have something to compare to culturally. So now this is what happens. They have their experiences, with African American men. Sorry about the African American women. And they come over to Brazil or another country and experience a different culture with women. So now in their mind, they're thinking, do I really want to go back to, where I came from? I get treated like crap over here. I deal with this stress all the time. Over here, these women treat us like gods. They actually put us on a pedestal, and they treat us amazingly like a normal household as a man. So culturally speaking, like I said, it goes back in history. The indigenous people or the Native Americans of America, the culture and the traditions as far as the women responsibilities are cook, clean, and put their husband on a pedestal. That's just how the culture is, when it comes to the indigenous people of America. So they're being looked at like, man, damn, they treat us like men. We have fun with them. They're sexy. And like I said again, there's a lot of African blood down there, even though there's mixed combinations. But like I said, Brazil has the highest number of African descendant people in the country. So, like I said, this is just a response, in my opinion, on why, people or African Americans are fleeing to different countries looking for other women, is because of, as they say, the bad attitudes. They don't want to be degraded all the time. They want to know their position as a man in life, and they're just fed up with it. But me personally, I live in Mexico. Estoy en México ahorita. Yo vivo en Mexico. And the women treat brothers, or me personally, incredibly. And like I said, it's not just African American men, but it's men with African descent, with African features that they love, and we have a lot of Cubans out here. So honestly, Cubans get more love, or I wouldn't even say Cubans, but the men with darker skin complexion, I would say purple, they get the most love. It's an exotic attraction to, the people out here. But even though, soy chocolate, but the darker men get more love, towards them than me. But like I said, it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing, and like I said, this is just, a word for me. Y'all need to pretty much just change the ways, you interact with your partner or your African American male. And I know there's a lot of problems. People go through a lot of, things. No relationship is perfect. But there are other women in this world that love African American men, and they're very, very curious. So, like I said, with Brazilians, I don't know everything about Brazil. I've never been down there, but a little bit about the history, out there is that they do have a large amount of African blood down there. Back in time, they imported, 4 million plus African slaves. They mixed with the Portuguese blood, from Europe, and they mixed with the indigenous blood as well. So you get that combination, So in a response that, the woman in the video had said, that made her response, she said that, there's a skin color difference. The lighter people get treated a lot better. So, of course, I do agree with that. Your skin color privileged. But I really think that's only an American standard in the culture out there. Because out here, it's completely opposite. This, like, the darker you are, the more love you're going to get. But if you're just dark in general, especially, if you come from the African background genetically, you're going to get love regardless. It's different out here. But, of course, in America, the lighter you are, the more privileged you are, because you have more European features, and you blend in a lot more into the society out there. But like I said, that's just me logically speaking, and that's what I'm aware of, and I'm just giving you my response on my opinion on why, African Americans are looking elsewhere or whatnot. But me personally, I just don't understand why, a lot of African American, they keep putting, the skin color in category when, like I said, out here, even in Mexico, Afro-Mexicanas, mestizas negras aquí en Mexico son mucho chocolate en Guerrero, Acapulco, Costa Chica, Oaxaca, Veracruz, Puebla. It's a lot of African blood and heritage out here in Mexico too, and I'll give you guys an update on that. But yeah, I have a lot of friends that look like they're from the United States, but no, they grew up, born and raised here in Mexico. The United States is not the only country that imported African slaves. So, like I said, with the hermanas de Mexico aquí, ellas morenas, morenas hermosas, beautiful, black descendant African blood out here as well. So, like I said, just always take in mind that it's just how you think about it and what you're aware of. And like I said, when it comes to skin color, to me, I have always found the dark, purple undertone, skin color group of people to have a unique, shininess and a nice appeal. It's an exotic appeal to me. That's an exotic appeal. I love the dark chocolate, skin complexion. So, and there are advantages of having, a purple undertone, which makes you that, that color of being that dark. So, just leave me feedback, comments. Let me know, and if you want to know my experiences out here in Mexico, and if you have any questions about being a brother out here in Mexico, I'll love to keep you guys updated. But yeah, stay tuned. Negrito Grande. Sale pues.